Welcome to Curt and Paul Discuss. I am Paul Chappell, your host, and today I am taking you on a voyage through Fantastic Beasts 2 and Where to Find Them, the Crimes of Grindelwald. Boy, that's a mouthful. I know what you're thinking. This guy couldn't be bothered to even get out of bed to review this movie. Did he hate it that much? Or you could be thinking, let's stay with me here. Perhaps he's wearing his wizard robes. My answer is maybe it could be a little bit of both. Wow, that's damn good pumpkin juice. Anyway, let me just say I went in this movie with very low expectations, as you probably know from my earlier review of the trailer for the movie. And I have to say, yes, I was disappointed. As a admitted Harry Potter fan, this film just hit all the wrong notes. Have you ever had, how do I describe this? Have you ever had a favorite band, rock band, R&B band, any kind of band really, who put out a very good first album, maybe even two good albums, but everything after that was kind of derivative of those first two albums or first album? Well, J.K. Rowling is at that stage of her career, I believe, and it's not looking pretty because she just trots out some of the same tropes that we've seen in all of her movies. We even got a little bit of magical rape in this film, which I just don't know what to say. Although I do have to say there was more black people in this movie than I thought I was going to see. So there's that. They even used Zoe Kravitz's mixed heritage. Actually, she's not really mixed, is she? She looks mixed though, because her mother was Lisa Bonet, her father's Lenny Kravitz, two black people who also look mixed. So anyway, Lenny Kravitz is mixed at the very least. So they used, some of her mixed heritage in the story, and I kind of thought that was interesting. But as I say, there's also some raping going on. Not really appropriate for a kid's movie, but hey, she did it in Harry Potter. Remember, Voldemort's mother raped a muggle. Of course, we don't really call it rape when a woman does it, right? But there you go. She used the enchantment, whatever you want to call it. I think they call it the same thing in this movie. Anywho, this film had some pacing problems. Great, expansive shots throughout, but I'm not a big fan of the director, David Yates. He did some of my least favorite Harry Potter movies. And it seems like he's J.K. Rowling's director of choice now. I mean, he did the first Fantastic Beasts. He's doing this. And I think he did the last two Harry Potter movies, maybe even the last three. He's done a lot of work for J.K. Rowling's. So I'm not too happy. I have more problems with the editing. I felt like maybe they cut out too much because there's always a bunch that they film these movies. I mean, the old adage in filmmaking is it's better to shoot more than enough than not enough, because you can always cut out excess. You can't always go back and get the same actors to add something to a movie. So it did have that problem, but the pacing has always been bad in these David Yates productions. The great thing about Rotten Tomatoes, I have to say, looking at the critical evaluation of this movie, is this is the genius of Rotten Tomatoes. They always split up the critic response and the audience response, because as I've said before, you're going to get a different outlook coming from the audience than from critics. Critics are looking for originality. They're looking for mise en scène. They're looking for, they're looking at the lighting. They're looking at the performances. Artists just want to be entertained. They don't care if you're using the same formula that they've seen 10 to 20 times, in whatever genre you're watching. They just want to be entertained. So the critical score for this movie is in 40%. The audience score is 72. And usually the audience score is higher, but it's not that much higher. So I kind of felt like this was kind of accurate. I have a feeling that the audience score is going to go down over time, because that first week you got all these Harry Potter fans going out to see the movie. And like Star Wars fans, they're very forgiving of whatever you put in front of them. Just as long as you give them something, another part of their favorite fantastical, genre, they're going to be satisfied. But I feel like it's more, regular folks see this movie, this score is going to go down a bit. Okay, so those problems aside, what did I like about the movie? Well, let me just go ahead and say it. I'll probably get ragged for this, but I like Johnny Depp in this movie. I thought he rocked as Grindelwald. I mean, J.K. Rowling got this right. I mean, she got a lot of flack for hiring him because of the alleged abuse scandal he's involved with right now. But he was just a great addition to the cast. The problem I had with his character, though, maybe I shouldn't get into this too early, but he has the same goals as Voldemort from the Harry Potter movies. So I did have a problem with that, but it didn't have anything to do with his performance. His performance was great. I also like Jacob in this movie, Jacob Kowalski, the Fat Baker. His conflict with Queenie in the movie was very interesting, even though his memories had been wiped, and they quickly established that the spell didn't work on him because something about happy memories. I don't know. I'll let you decipher that. But this is the same kind of unrealistic thing she did with Newt. They got Newt pairing off with Lydia Lestrange, and to a lesser extent Tina Goldstein, and at the same time they got Jacob with Queenie, who is very hot blonde from the first movie. In fact, in this movie there's a conflict with Queenie because she wants to get married to him and he doesn't want to get married to her. Yeah, you heard that right. He does not want to marry her, this fat mogul baker. Now, later they do establish that the reason he doesn't want to get married to her is because in America, the magical are not allowed to marry the nomads, the non-magical people. So there was I kind of like that actually, because it kind of made a parallel to the early laws about miscegenation that we had in America. So that came across as kind of insightful. But the fact that Queenie is, some of the things she's doing to try to get him to marry her just seemed kind of absurd. Because when they traveled to London to see Newt, and he's under an enchantment spell. Once again, you got another character using the enchantment charm or potion or whatever to get what they want from a unwilling partner. So it was a little bit disturbing, but Newt releases them from the enchantment. Anywho, I just thought it interesting that their turmoil in their relationship kind of drives the plot, especially during the end of the movie. But I like that whole dynamic. I wish we could have a little bit more of that with Newt and his kind of attraction to Tina Goldstein. I could have used a lot more of that. What else did I like? I'm really having to dig deep here to bring up stuff I like. I guess I like the fact that they actually had more minority in this movie, even though from this cast photo you probably can't even tell this character over here. He's a French character. Oh yeah, I like the fact that they went to France in this movie, even though they didn't really explore what French society was like with wizards. You kind of got a very, very quick view of it, but this character in the movie, trying to remember his name, Arnold Guzman. He's from a pure blood black family, so I like that. I like the fact that they use Zoe Kravitz's racial background in the movie. They kind of explain that, even though it was kind of disturbing when you do find out why she's mixed. I like the fact that they did kind of explore Albus Dumbledore's sexuality. They couldn't get more explicit because, you know, this is a kid's film and you don't want to upset the religious right in this country. So, or in China for that matter. They probably have a problem with gay characters as well. So they went just as far as they could go. You got Dumbledore saying in the movie that he was closer than Grindelwald was closer than a brother. Obviously saying they had a relationship without really saying it. And they did explain why Dumbledore could not move against Grindelwald. Not much of a spoiler, but it is a spoiler. You find out in an earlier flashback that they made some kind of blood oath to each other that's magically bound, where they can't really harm each other. So I like that. But overall, this movie just did not work. It was kind of like putting a cake in the oven and not cooking it long enough. So basically it's half baked. I felt like, you know, J.K. Rowling's just trotting out her greatest hits at this point. A lot of the characters in the movie resembled characters she's already used in her other movies. And you have the whole thing where she's just pushing this kind of social agenda on women who end up with nice guys. And it's admirable, but it's not really realistic. You know, or it's sad but true, our societies are based on the superficial more often than not. So, but, you know, she at least make an attempt. It's admirable, but it's really not a realistic way to live. I don't know why Nagini was in this movie. I don't know why they felt the need to put Voldemort Snake in this movie, unless it has some impact on a later movie. So, you know, maybe she's just thinking ahead. But going back to the old tropes that J.K. Rowling keeps revisiting, one of the tropes that they bring back from the Harry Potter series is the fact that Dumbledore often doesn't tell the main character what he needs to know when he needs to know it. You find out in this movie that Dumbledore actually sent Newt to the United States in the first place without explaining to him what he really wanted him to do, which was pretty much to spy on Grindelwald. I think I gathered that from the movie. A lot of things in the movie were not really that clear. And it might have been kind of a retcon on J.K. Rowling's part. Because another thing they established in the movie is that Credence, who is played by Ezra Miller, is actually a member of a pureblood family, and he could actually be maybe in one of the most notorious families. And I won't say it, but it just that seemed to me very much not something they were promoting in the first film. I just think that J.K. Rowling was so captivated by Ezra Miller that she decided, hey, I'll give him a better backstory to this movie. Because they make it seem like Grindelwald was actually searching for him. But from what I remember, he was just using this guy to get what he wanted. This whole subplot with him being part of an important member of the purebloods, it just, I don't know, it rang kind of hollow to me. So I kind of have a problem with that. Like I said, I had a problem with the pacing. I felt like they probably left a lot on the cutting room floor. It just was going from one place to another. Just was very disjointed throughout this whole movie. And it just came down to the characters just not being that interesting. And like I've probably said before, every character in this movie is more interesting than Newt Salamander. I don't even like saying his name, Scamander. I think one of the indications that you have a great character is whether people actually cosplay that character, or is anybody dressing up as these characters at Comic-Con? I mean, I don't know for sure, but I would think that there are more people dressing up as Harry Potter and Voldemort and even, yes, Grindelwald than would be dressing up as Newt Scamander, because he just, at the end of the day, he's just not that interesting. So I just had a problem through and through with Newt Scamander. And I have to say that I was not very entertained, because like I've said before, I can separate my critical response to this movie with my response as just a regular audience member. And there are movies that critically I hated, but at the same time I was very thoroughly entertained. You know, the score for this movie, like I said, is 72% right now, but I have a feeling that it's going to go down once people who are not Harry Potter get dragged to this movie by their wives or husband. I think, you know, if those people actually submit their scores to Rotten Tomatoes, it's going to go down, because there's not much for people who are actually just casual film goers to like about this film. Even the final battle in the movie was not terribly interesting. It's like you knew who was going to survive based on whether you think they were going to be in the sequel. I mean, you obviously knew it was not going to die, and some other characters. They pretty much killed extras. They did kill one person that was not an extra, but I'll just leave that for you to find out. So ultimately, what score would I give this movie? I would probably give it a 2, just because it looked pretty. You know, the costumes and everything were on point. The star power was on point. But like I said, the movie was just half-baked. And I didn't feel like there was anything new that J.K. Rowling was really showing us here. Like I said, she's just bringing out her old hits. So, with a heavy heart, I give this movie a 2, and hopefully she'll bring out something interesting. You know, and they say there's going to be 5 Fantastic Beasts. And I really don't see how they're going to make 5 movies out of this. I mean, why couldn't they end it in the next movie? It's obviously going to make money, but I just don't see them dragging it out in 5 films. So who knows? Maybe it'll get better. We'll have to see. But that's my review of Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. And I hope you enjoyed that. And please subscribe if you enjoy my review. Subscribe, and I will see you when I see you. Thanks for watching.